Good morning. I'm Robert Pyke. I'm an individual consultant and troublemaker. I'll spare you my qualifications except to note that I was a consultant and expert witness for the plaintiffs in the Paterno case, the winning side. I might mention for the council members, you should go back and read my comments on the third draft of the Delta plan. I won't go into that, but you will see echoes of my comments on the third draft of the Delta plan in the recent court decision. I'm not suggesting that you should listen to me. There are probably good reasons, including funding through the governor's office, why you shouldn't listen to me. But nonetheless, what I say bears recording and repeating. I also would like to commend the Flood Board, and although I don't remember all the detail, Tom Zuckerman, who couldn't be here today, asked me to commend you on moving in the direction of creating more upstream storage of floods, which is something that he's been promoting for a long time. Complicated issue, but well worth pursuing. So that raises the question of whether future actions of the Flood Board are taken into account in the hydrology that is being considered in the DLIS. Read the DLIS. I famously, in responding to a question from Senator Johnson some years ago, said that prioritization required by the Delta Reform Act could be done in half a day. I stand by that statement. I have what would be the result of that half-a-day meeting written on this piece of paper. I won't go into that now. What, in fact, the council and their staff and consultants have done is spent 2 years and I'm not sure how many dollars developing a methodology or a tool for prioritizing Delta levees. In my fairly long engineering career, I have seen many useless studies, but this one just about tops them all. I haven't read every word, but I went through the 192 pages. I forgot to bring my copy, otherwise I'd be waving it at you. It is a fool's errand. I want to make that clear. I didn't choose that term lightly. The development of that tool is a fool's errand. I'll try to briefly explain why. Those kinds of optimization studies, if you have structures or systems which are well defined, are still difficult if you're dealing with natural phenomena like floods and earthquakes, which have a lot of uncertainty in them. So even if your structure or system is well defined, this is a very difficult thing to do. The Delta levee system is a long linear system that is in fact continuously variable. And so in order to analyze it, you have to chop it up into smaller pieces and assume that that piece is all the same. That introduces an approximation or an error. There is uncertainty in that error. That is added to the other uncertainties in the problem, the uncertainties in the natural phenomenon. It sort of assumes that you've got the data right in the first place, which folks from the Delta think the staff and consultants haven't got right. But even if they have got all the data right, it's still a very difficult problem. The more detailed you get, this is an insoluble problem in this kind of study, which I've been exposed to at Yucca and on other projects of national interest. The more you try to chop a problem up and be more accurate as to the detail, the greater the number of uncertainty terms that you introduce in your calculations. And the net result of that is that your median or best estimate drifts away from what in fact is the best estimate in reality, and it always goes on the high side. That was one of the problems with dreams. I never expected that I would stand before anyone and praise dreams, which has a lot of flaws. But relative to the DLIS, the dream study now doesn't look so bad. Just as an example of the uncertainty that you can see visually, since I forgot to bring my copy, there is a figure later in the report, figure 4 point something something, that plots results from dreams against results from DLIS. And it's just like a scatter all over the place. You should look at that figure and ask yourself, if this is the level of accuracy that's involved in both dreams and this tool, maybe there is a better way to do these things. Maybe we should be getting people together and using the best analog computer in the world, which is the human brain, to sort out these problems, rather than developing an elaborate tool of uncertain accuracy. And so I've done not a great job, but I've tried to step through the explanation of why trying to develop a tool for prioritizing investments in Delta Levees on this very complex system is a fool's errand. I did that by attempting a sort of a short technical explanation. Lest you don't want to go into that, lest your staff and consultants don't want to have serious discussions on that issue, I thought I'd give the layperson's response. You know, a lot of people these days think that government is being inefficient in addressing their needs, and I think this long misguided effort is a great example of that. And I'm throwing the bullshit flag.
Thank you, Mr. Pyke.